his little bed?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we see her now. Oh, she's precious. Oh, yeah. Perfect.
She'll peek out every once in a while.
Are our dreams just random images fired from an unconscious brain during sleep? Or something much more important, like life-saving inner guidance? How dreams can be healing and early warning tools for disease, financial crisis, or success. And love is still one of the behavioral science's greatest unanswered questions. Hello, I'm your host, author Kat O'Keefe Canavas. Welcome to Dreaming Healing, where dreams and cutting-edge scientific research meet on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network. Dreaming Healing is every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, when you can call in and ask Kat questions about your amazing dreams. Talk on air. Call toll-free, 833-220-1200. That's 833-220-1200. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Welcome to Dreaming Healing. I'm your host, Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas, but my friends all call me Kat, so I hope you will too. You know, what do our guests tonight have in common? We have Lori Lynn Bridges with us. We have Temple Hayes. We have Ann Worth. What could they possibly have together? Well, the answer is forgiveness. And so right after our meditation, we're going to delve into each of their stories, because this whole month is Crappy to Happy month, and they are also authors in the book Crappy to Happy, which happens to be #2 on the Amazon new release bestsellers list today. And just a few days ago, it was #1. So I think by this evening, it's going to pop back up again. They've got some incredible stories. Crappy to Happy is all about, yeah, we all have really crappy days, but how did we move into the happy? But before we do that, let's start the show with our favorite protection and clearing meditation. So if you're driving, please don't close your eyes. It is still going to work. All right. So during this meditation, what we're going to do is imagine using something that's small but powerful to you. Maybe it's something given to you in a dream by a guardian angel or a spirit guide, or it could be a deceased loved one came into a dream and gave you something. It could be an amulet, So if you don't have something special, imagine a flower or your favorite stone or a piece of jewelry, anything that holds the power of love to you. That's going to be your power gift. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take in these 3 really deep breaths, and we're going to blow them out across the room into the purple flame of Saint Germain, where they're going to be converted into beautiful golden energy and returned to the universe. So get comfortable, close your eyes, and let's take our 3 deep breaths in together, okay? Deep breath in, hold it. Imagine any negativity getting connected to that breath. Blow it out across the room. Imagine it going right into that purple flame and turning into golden light. Another deep breath in. Blow it out across the room into the purple flame. One more time. Deep breath in. Hold it. Any little tiny specks of negativity get in there like little pieces of pepper. Blow it out. Now imagine holding in your hand your power gift, your amulet, your amulet, your flower, your stone, whatever it is, and take it and swing it around your body, creating a mirrored bubble all around you. And this bubble only allows that which is of our highest and best to come into the bubble brought by our spirit guides. Everything else is reflected back from whence it came. We wish it so, and therefore it is. When you're ready, please open your eyes, and we're going to start with our guests. Laura Lynn, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am a mom of 3 adult children. I was divorced after 23 years of marriage. I am now currently remarried to a high school friend. We went to high school together and we re-met at our 30-year reunion. So I'm remarried and living on a farm with some animals and a lot of dogs, and I love to write, and I love to promote positive lifestyle on Instagram.
Mhm.
And that's kind of my hobby right now.
Great. Dr. Ann Worth, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
All right, I'm going to be 78 this year, and so surprisingly, I'm reinventing myself. I'm a first-time author. I published a book this March, and like you, I love my quiet time in the morning, just kind of waiting for something to bubble up that I might want to share with other people. And so I'm writing a blog on my website. And you mentioned that you're a mother. I am a mother, grandmother, and great grandmother, although I've never had a biological child. And that's kind of a story in and of itself, because I kind of have children all over the world. So, and I rescue dogs, and my little Yorkie rescue will probably pop her head up and say hello shortly.
Wonderful. Well, we can see her kind of over there in her little bed. She's absolutely adorable. Reverend Dr. Temple Hayes, tell us a little bit about you.
Hello. Well, I am a global spiritual leader. I've been at First Unity Spiritual Campus for 17 years. And so we broadcast internationally. And so I love the work that we do. I love the positive creation of spirituality and the doors it can open when you are able to really share with people that you're not broken and the world isn't broken. It's coming from an entirely different place of wholeness. And so I'm also the founder of ILI.org, which is the Institute for Leadership and Lifelong Learning International. And we play a part in supporting spiritual leaders globally, as well as people who want to increase their ability in true heart-centered leadership. I am an animal activist, so Ann and I could be, new best friends. We do pet adoption here locally in St. Petersburg. I've also brought dogs back from Brazil and still have personal relationships with many of them. And let's see, I have, my wife and I have been together 15 years, and we were friends 10 years before that. So we have been around for a while. And I'm blessed. My mother relocated here 2 years ago. She lives right across the water from me. And I have a 5-year-old goddaughter that calls me Mama Temple. And that just constantly keeps a smile on my face.
Oh, you and Ann are you share that in common. I think we have Mike Patoka with us. Mike, do we have you with us by audio?
Hi, you do. I'm sorry for being a little late. I was sitting there with my my phone in my hand, and I was not quite sure how we were hooking up. So here I am. So, sorry.
We'll take you any way we can get you, Mike.
Well, thank you for that.
So, Mike, we were just going around kind of talking to our audience and telling them a little bit about ourselves. So would you like to tell the audience a little bit about yourself, other than the fact that, again, you are one of the authors in the book Crappy to Happy, which is today is launch day, and it is on the bestsellers list.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I was actually I read Chaos to Clarity. My brother Dennis kind of got me. Dennis got me. What does that mean? I've been writing a little bit for him on his Biz Catalyst 360 website, and so I did a little bit of writing. Don't do it for a living. I don't have a podcast or a radio show, nothing like that. Just kind of doing some writing. And then my sister-in-law Lynn and Dennis were both contributing authors in Chaos to Clarity. I read that book, loved it, loved the concept of it. And when he told me there was an opportunity potentially for me to be involved in this project, and how could I turn it down with that title, especially, I mean, Crappy to Happy. I absolutely love that. And my goal, actually, I believe our stories are meant to be told, not to be kept to ourselves. So I was very excited and motivated to be a part of it, and just to go through the process. So I'm really happy to be a part of it.
Great. Well, we're glad you're a part of it too. And another thing I failed to tell our audience is every single one of these authors, Ann and Temple and Loyalyn and Mike, they're all columnists in Biz Catalyst 360 magazine that is owned by Dennis Patoco. And that's my little girl over there trying to get out through the door by herself. She can open it. So all of our authors in the Crappy to Happy book and the Chaos to Clarity, they're all columnists. Dennis is just awesome about allowing them to have their own columns. He's so generous. So let's get down to the nitty gritty of this, which is our stories. And like I said at the beginning, what holds all of these stories together is forgiveness and faith. So, Ann, what was your crappy in your story?
My crappy lasted a long time. For 55 years, I really tried to overcome a lot of lies that I believed because my mother suffered from postpartum depression and really rejected me and was very abusive. And it wasn't until I wrote this book. And first of all, I want to thank everyone who is an author. As a child, I used to escape into my room and read. And all my life, other people who sat down and went through the process of sharing their heart and being vulnerable and sharing what helped them has been so helpful to me. And so our stories, somebody said earlier, our stories need to be told. So I really hope that my story will help other people as well. So back to the story, I really felt like there was something unlovable about me and something intrinsically wrong with me, something defective. And so especially I was angry with God because how could he have let all these things happen to me? And so my turnaround, if you will, was that I met a loving God. And I didn't know he existed. The God I thought existed could kill you in a New York second, wanted to punish you, kept score. And I met a loving God through a whole series of circumstances. And now I have a daddy. That's what I like to call him. And so I'm never alone. I feel very lovable and loved. And So that's my story in a nutshell.
And you are not only lovable, you are a beautiful person inside and out. And her story in this book, I the whole time I read it, my mouth was open. I couldn't believe what I was reading, and it's such an incredible story. So Temple, let's come to you. Tell us about your crappy, because the second part of this show, we're going to get to all of our happies, but let's start it with, where were you before you found your happy?
Well, I was, my first moment was at 10 years old when my mom in a small southern town was accused of having an affair, and she was sent away from with a mental health center. And I was sent up north, and all the connections were not there as far as what was happening. Where was my mom? I was the oldest child. And then when I was 13 and a half, my dad walked in on myself and a 17-year-old girl. And we were doing more than reading a magazine together, let's say that. And so it just, everybody just flipped out. And my grandmother brought me over and told me, I went from being her favorite granddaughter to she was so sad that I was going to spend eternity in hell.
Mhm.
And she wasn't going to get to be with
We had
me.
the same grandmother.
And special. And so one of my the favorite sayings is, united we stand and divided we are merely a distraction. And I love that quote, and I've massaged it many times through the years, whether it's voting or whether it's racism or whatever it is, the animal kingdom and the people kingdom or whatever. But one day that it really hit me, and like Anne was saying, the juice came out, when I was writing this article, in that united we stand, that I had felt united. I'm divided, divided we were merely a distraction, that I had felt divided for so long in my life, because those things just did not, connect. How could I not be a mistake? How can I be a wonderful creation while at the same time my grandmother isn't going to see me in heaven? And so that was definitely my crappy. And it was like things changed then, being intuitive and highly sensitive, the way people saw me, I felt the difference when I walked in a room, and there were very difficult times, to say the least.
That's very difficult on a child, but Anne, you went through that, and Temple, you went through that, where your elders are saying, if you don't think as we think and live as we live and believe as we believe, we're not going to see you in heaven, and God's not going to like you. And so that is really, really difficult. And that's why your stories in this book are so important. We wanted those stories so badly. Laura Lynn, tell us your crappy. Where to start?
I'm thinking about my story that in the book, and I'm trying to blend the crappies. My crappy actually started, as many here, with childhood. And I had two non-parenting parents. I had a father and a mother who were both compromised at being able to be parents. My dad was addicted to alcohol, gambling, rage, food, smoking, adultery. So he was just very preoccupied with his addictions. My mom was histrionic, phobic, depressed, this whole ball of absolute dysfunction. And they played off of each other. They still are. At 92 and 87, they're still playing off of each other, and we're getting phone calls daily. It just hasn't ended. But so as a child, I came my parents were actually told to have me. They were, I had an older sister who they were really suffocating with their issues, and a pediatrician did a house visit and said to my parents, we really recommend you have another child. So I wasn't really, it's terrible to say, but I really wasn't wanted. My mom certainly didn't want another kid. She could barely function with the one she had, who was actually a perfect kind of model infant and child. And then had me, which in her situation, I was the 12th granddaughter combined on both sides, no grandsons. So we know, and she said that, she figured, well, maybe I should try one, to have one more kid, and maybe I'll get that boy. So unfortunately, that was a disappointment to her. And I was just speaking to my sister about this today. My mom really suffered from postpartum. They didn't know it then, but just roll that into the whole ball of dysfunction she was dealing with. My earliest memory, and I think I mentioned this in the book, was being in a crib. I had to be very young. Being in a crib, wet, hungry, just wanting to be picked up and nurtured and cared for. And it just never really happened. And the funny thing about it is my crib, till I was 3, I was in my parents' bedroom in a crib because we had a small house, and my grandmother lived on the other side of the wall, and she would actually knock when she would hear me crying and try to soothe me. And then eventually she would get up, come around the front and say to my mom, you got to pick this baby up. You got to feed her. You got to, change your diaper. My mom was just on the sofa, like, in her fog of whatever it was she was dealing with at the time. So
we're going to need to pick this up, Lori Lynn, because we've got to go to a break.
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah, when we come back on the other side of this break, we're going to pick this right up, and then we're going to go to Mike. So don't go away. You're listening to Dreaming Healing on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. And I'm your host, Kat Canavas. We'll be right back. Get the cat.
Ever had a strange dream? Nautilus Award winner, Dreams That Can Save Your Life, Early Warning Signs of Cancer and Other Diseases by Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas and Duke University radiologist Dr. Larry Burke. Forward by Dr. Bernie Siegel, shares how people like you self-advocated in the face of adversity and won using dreams. Read life-saving dream stories validated by medical reports. Hear how dreams of dead loved ones saved lives. Use interpretations and journaling as roadmaps in your waking world for health, wealth, and love. Dreams That Can Save Your Life. Early Warning Signs of Cancer and Other Diseases. Buy the audio and book at KathleenO'KeefeCannabis.com in English and Italian worldwide, and through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other retailers.
Omega Institute, offering workshops, retreats, and online learning dedicated to awakening the best in the human spirit. For over 40 years, Omega has seen more than 1 million people come through its doors to grow, learn, and find a greater sense of purpose. With over 350 workshops to choose from, Omega offers something for everyone. Located in Rhinebeck, New York, just 90 miles north of New York City, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org or call 877-944-2002. Again, 877-944-2002.
What if dreams can diagnose your life? What if we can meet the love of our life in dreams? Join host Kat O'Keefe Canavas, the #1 internationally best-selling author of Dreams That Can Save Your Life, written with Duke University medical doctor Larry Burke. Dreaming Healing is where we'll explore dreams, research, and interpret dreams from you, the caller. Dreaming Healing shows can be heard every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Have you met your physician within yet? The Nautilus and multi-award winning book, Surviving Cancerland, Intuitive Aspects of Healing, is a memoir that takes you down the rabbit hole of healing dreams and interpretations, mixed with conventional medicine and treatments. Listen to the hookah-puffing caterpillar ask, "Who are you?" Dr. Bernie Siegel says Kathleen's story is powerful, honest, and eye-opening. Surviving Cancerland, Intuitive Aspects of Healing by 3-time breast cancer survivor Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas. Buy the book and audio at KathleenO'KeefeCanavas.com and worldwide through Amazon and other retailers.
Why are we here? How can we be happy? Questions asked from millennials to boomers. Crappy to Happy, Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy answers them using true stories of grit, grace, and love. James Redfield, author of The Celestine Prophecy, wrote in the foreword, "This book is a seminar about emerging truths and offers grounded solutions through the art of the comeback." Dr. Bernie Siegel, a contributing author, wrote, "Bodies die, but spirits and consciousness survive and recycle." So, grab some tissues, open your book, and prepare to cry and laugh till it heals. Crappy to Happy by Reverend Ariel Patricia and Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and booksellers worldwide.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Oh.
So I didn't mute me, so I didn't unmute me. Can you hear me now? All
Yep.
right, we're back on.
Oh, all right.
Okay, so let me start again. Welcome back, everyone. You are watching Dreaming Healing on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, and I'm your host, Kat Canavas. Just before the break, we were talking about the crappy in people's lives from the book Crappy to Happy, and the foreword was written by James Redfield of the Celestine Prophecies, and we have 30 authors in the book. And so Laura Lynn was talking about her crappy, and now I'd like to go to Mike. Mike, tell us what your crappy was in the book, because I want to end the show on the happy. I want to end it on an up note, but I want our audience to see that these are real stories that deal with, grit, grace, and love in getting out of this crappy, and that the crappy is really bad, but you guys didn't stay there. No, you didn't set up camp in there. You got out, and that's what we want to talk about. So, Mike, what was your crappy?
Well, I got married. Okay, that wasn't very nice. I got married. That was not my wife's fault, by the way. I got married to my wonderful wife, Sharon, when I was 25. The thing is, I had never been prior to that in a serious relationship. I also became at the same time a stepfather to Sean, who was 4 years old at the time. And the problem was, I did not have the emotional maturity to handle marriage, let alone being a built-in father-in-law. I was what I'd call emotionally handicapped at the time. I was uncomfortable receiving and expressing feelings. Simple acts of hugging, kissing, saying I love you felt so awkward to me. Sharon, on the other hand, came from a very warm, loving family, and that's how she is. To me at the time, it seemed like Sharon and Sean would hug and say I love you every time they exited and came back into a room. And I'm thinking, why can't they be normal like me? And going back years and years, I was, neither of my parents were raised in a very nurturing home. As a result, they didn't really have the tools to model for us kids, and there was 8 of us. how to express love and how to appropriately express emotions. Dad was away from home a lot. There was 8 of us, I mentioned, so there was a lot of mouths to feed. Money was always tight, so Dad was always working several jobs for as long as I can remember. So between being gone a lot and when he was around, he was a pretty quiet guy, really hard to get to know. I really believe my parents did the best they could. They were great providers. Lots of good times, along the way. But looking back, I realized later in life that I left home not emotionally equipped to handle a healthy relationship. And it didn't take very long to discover that after I got married. Trying to be a good husband and a good father really exposed my shortcomings very quickly. And I wanted desperately to be the husband and father I wanted to be. It was extremely frustrating to me. And then that frustration turned into anger. It seemed like I was always in a bad mood. Rather than express my feelings in a mature way, I would hide behind a wall of sarcasm or satirical remarks. When I got angry, I could be quiet for days at a time. And I really just created a toxic home environment for Sharon and Sean. And I literally did not know the person in the mirror that I was looking at. I did not like who I had become. I tried for a long time to change. I would do good for a while, but I'd eventually blow it. I'd apologize, only to repeat the same scenario over and over again. And the only thing I accomplished by all that was becoming really good at apologizing. And of course, that was not my goal. As my apologies increased, my credibility with Sharon decreased. As sincere as I was, my apologies became meaningless. We actually wound up separating 3 times in our first 2 years of marriage. And nothing showed just how dark of a place I was in and the level of my selfishness more than when Sharon told me she was pregnant. And my response was to convince her to have an abortion, to take what I now know to be a gift from God and throw it back in his face. I just refused to allow anything or anyone else into my life, even if it meant ending the life of my unborn child. It was the absolute lowest point in my life.
You know, what's so interesting about that, Mike, is we hear that from other women, but to have a man explain the emotional pain and trauma he goes through from an abortion shows you just how connected we all are universally through universal oneness.
Yes.
And so, all these stories, what I'm hearing is all of these stories are connected by childhood trauma. And the reason I find this stories and what you went through so important now is we have children who are locked up in their homes with abusive parents because of COVID. And some of them may actually be listening to the show tonight. I actually had a young 9-year-old call me up one time when I was doing my show to ask me if blind people saw colors in dreams. And the first thing I said was, go get your mother. I need your mother's permission for you to be calling me on the phone. So I know they watch. So what I'd like to do is go around and have you now tell us what your happiness is and how you got there, because I think that's the most important thing for all of the crappy in this book, because James Redfield, who wrote the foreword, said, if nothing else, this book is about the art of the comeback. You can come back. Where you are is not where you have to stay. This book, these stories, your stories in this book, it's all about the art of the comeback and the power of surrender. And I think that's really strong. The power of surrender. It's not that you're giving up. It's that we're letting go and letting God. And it wasn't until I surrendered myself totally with the words, thy will be done, because I'm done, that my life changed. So Anne, tell us what your happy is now and how you got there.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the word surrender, because I had 3 mottos because of a lifetime of disappointment. Never give in, never trust anybody, and never get your hopes up. So when I came to, I was diagnosed with a life-threatening illness, and I was standing at the precipice of the end of my life. And I knew I had to surrender to something greater than myself or just die. And so in that surrender, what I gave up, first of all, was the protection I had around my heart. I just surrendered. I just gave up. I said, do whatever you want to do to me. I'm talking to God. And his love just melted me. I mean, he was just waiting for me to quit trying to do it myself. That was my big surrender, is I was just determined that I was going to do it myself. So surrender was really important. You know, you talked about a comeback. What I would say to anybody listening is it's never too late. I've heard the expression, it's never too late to have a happy childhood. I don't know about that, but I can tell you that it's never too late to have a happy life. And so
That's
writing
beautiful.
the book just reminds me of the goodness of God. And the name of my chapter is Mercy. I did not deserve mercy. I had done about everything wrong that a person can do. And that mercy was undeserved. But through his goodness and kindness, it's not really what I did. It's what he did for me.
I love that. Temple, what is your happy now? And how'd you get there?
Well, sobriety certainly didn't hurt. Being sober 33 years and not being addicted to sugar for all those mood altercations certainly was a positive thing, that's for sure. But as I look on those moments of my life, you know, it's been transformative to me to take those moments and see how they help me be born. I mean, I truly believe that our parents birth us here, but we allow ourselves to be born over and over and over again through experiences that we have. So it fast-tracked me on a journey about, you know, when do we die while we're living and why? And for what reasons do we die a little here and there? So it catapulted me to this huge place inside myself of discovering more and more energy through tragedy, which is the opposite of what we're taught in our society, because, you know, our society teaches us paradigms to keep us small or dependent upon things outside of ourselves. But I came to realize this incredible journey. The funny thing that I will share with you in my happy, that I've shared obviously about what my grandmother said, which, you know, don't get me wrong, was heartbreaking at the time. But my grandmother died in 1994. And so when my book was coming out, When Did You Die? In like 2014 or 15, a psychic, I had a call with her, and she said, oh, there's this grandmother coming through. I said, oh, you mean my grandmother Ruby? She said, oh, no, it's your paternal grandmother. I went, Lois is coming through? She's not talked to me, you know, in all these years. What? She said, yeah. She said to tell you that, you know, she understands you now and everything's all right. And she's really proud of what you've done and, you know, blah, blah. And she just didn't know better. And so it was, you know, it was sweet to hear that. But then I'm telling the publicist about it, and a big aha came, and I went, she's just doing that because she's a Southern lady and she's sucking up because she doesn't want me to put her in the book. Well, it's not gonna work. So I put her in the book anyway. So it's been a great full circle. I love that these things happen to me because it's brought in authenticity and the ability to, with freedom and joy and humor, share my story and in hope that it will allow someone else permission to just be who they are in whatever way that actually means being who they are.
You know, it's amazing, Temple. You know, it's those challenges in life that give us the drive to survive. That's what I say. It's those challenges. If we didn't have a little rain and some mud, we just would not have all those beautiful flowers. So, Lori Lynn, what is your happy now?
I think my takeaway from the struggles that I had early on was I did want to mention that I think it was Anne mentioned that God became a dad figure to her. And for me, Mary, the Blessed Mother, actually became a maternal figure for me. So I've kind of used her as a role model in my own mother journey, parenting my own children. So her virtues of kind of a selflessness and an acceptance had really helped pave the way for me to heal and enjoy the happy. So I kind of had a new role model of how to parent, how to be a mom, and love was, you know, really in the forefront of my mothering. And in the book, where I am confronted with a lot of people would think difficult situation of acceptance regarding one of my children, I really just let love be in the forefront and direct me in how to respond and react and move forward on the journey with my child. So I guess getting me to happy would be love. And
I love that. Now, are you comfortable talking about what it was that was going on with your child?
Yes.
Okay, hold on to that. We have to go to another break, but I do want to get to that when we come back. But I didn't want to just have a, gotcha moment there where maybe that wasn't something you wanted to discuss. So don't go away. Okay. You're listening to Dreaming Healing on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, and I'm your host, Kat Cannabis. We'll be right back.
What if dreams can diagnose your life? What if we can meet the love of our life in dreams? Join host Kat O'Keefe Cannabis, the #1 internationally best-selling author of Dreams That Can Save Your Life, written with Duke University medical doctor Larry Burke. Dreaming Healing is where we'll explore dreams, research, and interpret dreams from you, the caller. Dreaming Healing shows can be heard every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Ever had a strange dream? Nautilus Award winner, Dreams That Can Save Your Life, Early Warning Signs of Cancer and Other Diseases by Kathleen O'Keefe Cannabis and Duke University radiologist Dr. Larry Burke. Forward by Dr. Bernie Siegel, shares how people like you self-advocated in the face of adversity and won using dreams. Read life-saving dream stories validated by medical reports. Hear how dreams of dead loved ones saved lives. Use interpretations and journaling as roadmaps in your waking world for health, wealth, and love. Dreams That Can Save Your Life. Early Warning Signs of Cancer and Other Diseases. Buy the audio and book at KathleenO'KeefeCannabis.com in English and Italian worldwide and through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other retailers.
Have you met your physician within yet? The Nautilus and multi-award-winning book, Surviving Cancerland, Intuitive Aspects of Healing, is a memoir that takes you down the rabbit hole of healing dreams and interpretations, mixed with conventional medicine and treatments. Listen to the hookah-puffing caterpillar ask, "Who are you?" Dr. Bernie Siegel says Kathleen's story is powerful, honest, and eye-opening. Surviving Cancerland, Intuitive Aspects of Healing by 3-time breast cancer survivor Kathleen O'Keefe Cannabis. Buy the book and audio at KathleenO'KeefeCannabis.com and worldwide through Amazon and other retailers. Darkest hours to brightest moments, transformation from despair to happiness, and chaos to clarity. Real people, real pain, real healing. Life-threatening illness, death, abusive relationships, divorce, and overcoming addiction are challenges these men and women faced head-on. See how they emerged stronger and happier. Buy the new book, Chaos to Clarity, Sacred Stories of Transformational Change by Reverend Patricia Caginello and Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas. Available on sacredstoriespublishing.com and worldwide through Amazon and other retailers.
In a world facing annihilation, a miraculous African nun rises to become the first female pope through a web of war, murder, and betrayal. Loved by some, hated by many, she becomes the deadly target of Islamic terrorists and her own cardinals as she introduces a new vision that will either save humanity or accelerate its destruction. 4 people must race against a nuclear holocaust to learn her astonishing secret. Pope Annalisa is available at petercanova.com, Amazon, and other online booksellers and bookstores worldwide.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Welcome back to Dreaming Healing on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. I'm your host, Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas. My friends all call me Kat, so I hope you will too. You can learn more about me at my website, KathleenO'KeefeCanavas.com, or just type into the Google search bar, The Queen of Dreams. And if you're only listening to this show tonight and you'd like to see it, you can always go to the top of my website up in the top right-hand corner and click Dream Vision 7, and it will take you to my website on Dream Vision 7, and you can watch the show live right there. This is a live show, so if something goes wrong, hey, we just keep going. Just before the break, we were talking to Laura Lynn Bridges about the challenge that she had with her beautiful child, very special child. And Laura Lynn, would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. About couple years ago now, my child was turning 29, 30, and said, it's kind of a long story, it's in the book. And we actually had a phone call, and she felt able to tell me that she was considering transitioning from male to female. And so this is a child that was born with external genitalia, which identified the child as male. The child from the earliest thought identified as female. So she believes, from birth, she was female, even though the external genitalia represented male. So I was actually raising this child as a male the majority of her life. So it's very kind of complicated, but it just goes to show you that what really matters is the inside of people, their heart and their soul, and the external packaging, skin color, male, female, tall, short, fat, skinny, does not matter. And we need to, as unfortunately as a society, we have been so programmed to look at the package and determine who that person is. But what we need to do is look within and look at the heart and the soul, and not the external packaging. So I think it was the ability to love and be accepting that enabled me to help my child approach her journey with support and love.
And I'll bet that you are just a fantastic parent. I know you accepted the way things were, and that made the transition much easier. I just know it made it much easier for your child to not have to go through what Anne and Temple went through, where a family was saying, well, we're going to heaven and you're not. That didn't happen in your family. And I really applaud you for that. So Mike Patoko, we're down to you here. What is your happy now?
This is the fun part. I like this. Well, for me, it began on a dirt road outside a small town on the central coast of California. I was just, we were in a fairly new house, had a good job, 30 years old by this time. And I found myself asking those big questions of life. What's my purpose? Why am I here? Is it all about earning money and waiting for my next vacation and planning for retirement? And I just knew there was something more. There had to be. Not that those were bad things, mind you, but I just was thinking there must be more. And about the same time, Sharon and I wanted to take Sean, who was a little older by now, too, 7 or 8 years old by now, and expose him to some sort of a church experience so he can make his own decision down the road. And so I was working that particular weekend. Sharon happened to visit a Baptist church, and I come home from work and she tells me, well, I got a visit set up. The pastor's coming Tuesday night. And I just kind of like, I asked you to visit a church, not to invite the pastor to our house. Anyway, and I'm going bowling that night. I had every intention of going bowling that night. I never went bowling by myself, but that night I was going to go bowling. And you set the visit up, you keep the visit, and I'll see you later. And I'm walking down the hallway with every intention of leaving that night. And as sure as an audible voice in that hallway, inside my head said, what are you running from? I'm going down the hallway preparing to get my bowling ball and leave the house 20 minutes before the visit. So anyway, I wind up staying. I say, what could this guy say that's going to hurt? So I stay, and pastor takes my, after a few pleasantries, takes my Bible, blows the dust off of it. And he hadn't really opened that lately. And he shared a few scriptures with me, and I don't know what all he said that night, but he said something out of the book of Ephesians, saved by grace through faith, not a result of works, and a light came on in my heart, in my soul. I knew what I heard was truth. I became a Christian that night along with my wife, Sharon. And something I learned since then, Kat, is growing older is automatic, but maturing is a choice. And the same applies to the Christian life. I might be a Christian for a number of years, but I may very well still be in a spiritual playpen of sorts. And I brought a lot of the same baggage into my Christian life that I brought into my marriage. But God brought people across my path who were much further down the road than I was. And just over time, I found myself, finally, I stopped praying for God to change Sharon, and we've used that word surrender a few times, and finally surrendered and said, God, make me the kind of man you want me to be. Make me the husband, make me the father that you want me to be. And one thing God told me early on, let me know, and when I say God told me, I realize how spiritual that sounds, but it wasn't the verbal voice. But he let me know through a number of different ways, because I was kind of already even getting involved in ministry at this point. And he said very clearly, though not audibly, you have no business doing ministry outside the home till you get things right with your wife and your son. And I heard that loud and clear. And a regular prayer of mine became, it's out of Psalms, and I just came across it one day, and it just really struck my heart. Search me, God, know my heart, try me, know my anxious thoughts, see if there be any hurtful way in me, and lead me in the everlasting way. And I prayed that daily, I prayed it constantly, and God does what he says he will do. He promised that. There's another scripture I found, I won't share any more scripture, I promise, but it says, I will give you a new heart. I will give you a new spirit. I'll remove your heart of stone. And that's what I had. and I will give you a heart of flesh. And that's exactly what he did for me, Kat. And my little contribution to Crappy to Happy is called Change of Heart. And that's why. That's exactly what God did. I'm certainly a work in progress, but God took a very cold-hearted person and transformed me. Mind you, I'm a work in progress, but to a much more caring, compassionate individual, someone who's comfortable receiving love and expressing love and emotions. And I mentioned to someone just earlier today, I'm the guy now when Sharon and I are watching a movie and there's an emotional scene, I'm the one crying. I look at her and she's fine. So maybe God went a little bit too far. I don't know. But I've been so blessed along the way. God has given me opportunities for ministry. Once he felt I was ready to do that outside the home, he really opened the door and really presented some amazing opportunities for that I would have never imagined doing. So when it comes to opportunities like this to tell my story, I take every opportunity. I said it earlier, our stories are meant to be told. It provides hope out there to a world that's really looking for it.
That's so true. Absolutely. We've got 2 minutes left of the show. Believe it or not, it went so quickly and it went so smoothly and it went so naturally. I just love this. So tell our audience where they can find you. Ann? Dr. Ann Worth.
drannworthauthor.com.
Oh, that was easy. And Temple, Reverend Dr. Temple Hayes.
Temple Hayes, HAYES.com.
And Lori Lynn?
On Instagram, and the handle is at just.LoriLynn.
And Mike?
Actually, my brother Dennis's website would be great, bizcatalyst360.com. He'd love that too. So that'd be great.
Oh, great. Well, I want to leave our audience with the information that you can find Crappy to Happy, which the little story behind it is it actually went up on Amazon 4 days ago and was a #1 hit overnight because I think people had been pre-ordering it. And so we were shocked. Ariel, Patricia, and I were just shocked. And it became a #1 Amazon bestseller overnight. It's down to #3 now, where we were kind of booted out by The Great Gatsby, which I don't mind. I love The Great Gatsby. So anyhow, we're #2, #3, and #5 actually on Amazon. And so you can buy the book on Amazon and in bookstores worldwide. I want to thank all of you, Ann, Temple, Lori, Lynn, and Mike, for being on the show with us tonight. We are so glad you were here. And for our audience, tune in next week at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be interviewing some more authors with some amazing stories. Until next time, remember, everybody dreams, but some dreams save lives. Good night, everyone.
Thank you for joining us this evening. And a big thanks to our producer. Tune in next time to Dreaming Healing for more cutting-edge research, live dream interpretations, and stories with radio host and award-winning author Kat O'Keefe Canavas. Listen every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Time with call-in live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network. Remember, everyone dreams, but some dreams save lives. Live your dreams. Find more about Kat at KathleenO'KeefeCanavas.com. That's Kathleen with a K. OKEEFEKANAVOS. Or The Queen of Dreams on Google search.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.